So, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unpacking Possibility. I'm your host, Traci Stein. As always, I'm so happy to be here with you. And I'm extra happy to be here with you today because I have my good friend, the multi talented and extra extraordinary Leslie McGuirk. So, of course, you may know something about her if you've watched any of the other episodes she's been on and just know her work generally. But I'm going to give you, Leslie, this super brief introduction. So, Leslie McGuirk, a multi-talented woman, as I said, an author of children's and adult books. I realize when I say adult, it could sound like something other than I mean, but non-children's books. Uh, we'll get into that in a minute. But Leslie's an accomplished astrologer. She is an artist, a successful, commercially successful artist as well. She is an incredible teacher. If you've ever gone to the famed Rancho La Puerta, you may have taken one of her workshops. That's where I met Leslie all those years ago. Leslie is also honestly hands down the best astrologer I know. And, I can't believe how incredibly insightful your readings have been. And so, Leslie, welcome back. I'm so glad you agreed to come on and talk today about all of the wild stuff going on here
Yeah, it's
astrologically.
extremely intense. So if anyone is feeling uncertain and unsettled, no, you're not alone. I actually don't know a single human on this planet who's probably not feeling the stress of the energetic forces that are working on us.
I'm
Yeah, there we go. See?
right. For anybody who's not watching on the video and is just listening, I have my Palo Santo here. I can't tell, there's not enough stuff like this. There's not enough new age stuff to clear all the stuff that we've been dealing with. I feel like this Mercury retrograde, which we're deep into right now. I always say this, but I feel like this is like the hardest one yet.
I agree. It's even affecting me, and normally they don't bother me because I was born during Mercury retrograde. So I wrote my book, The Power of Mercury, to get people not to be so freaked out about Mercury retrograde periods. But this one has been a bear to deal with, even for me. And part of it is because it's in Leo, and Leo is flamboyant. And I think that Mercury retrograde this time just wants to get us, it's kicking us in the behind big time. It's a very difficult one, and people are really unsettled by it for sure.
So we have so many things to talk about what's going on. This episode will air on August 5th. We'll still be solidly in Mercury retrograde. But Leslie, talk about why. We'll start with that. Let's talk about why this one feels so challenging. Talk about the significance of Leo, what we're working with here, what we're supposed to learn from or take from this.
Okay. So Mercury in Leo, people who are born with that placement, they are very dramatic. They'll be the ones who say, "Oh my God, that's the best meal I ever had in my life. Oh my gosh, that dress is so beautiful." Like everything is larger than life and big. So when you put a planet in retrograde motion and it's in that dramatic sign of Leo, it means that anything that could go wrong will probably do so in a more outrageous manner. And the other reason why it is more potent now than usual is because Mercury is just one of many planets that are retrograde right now. So that is so hard. So what it can feel like for us as if we go um, two steps forward, one step back. So we don't feel like we're making progress. We feel like things are very stuck. A lot of people feel very, very stuck right now. I think the key thing for people to do if they want to have a image or a video of what we all are going through right now, you would look at a picture, the sped up time picture of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And what we're stuck in right now, we are no longer a caterpillar and we're not a butterfly. We are stuck in that cocoon and it gets spun. If I don't know if you've ever seen that picture in slow motion, but it is the most frightening thing to imagine what that creature must be feeling like. What it used to be no longer is. And that started back with COVID. life as we knew it totally changed then. And part of what the aspects in astrology were telling us, that I foresaw that that was coming. I didn't know exactly what it was. I just knew life as we knew it would be over. And I knew it had something to do with the element of air. And I knew that we were moving from living in a horizontal world where it's almost as if in the old days when everyone thought the world was flat and then all of a sudden they found out it was round. That was a shocking thing for people to digest. We are going through the exact same thing, and I think it's partially our world is completely different now than it was even during COVID because of things like AI and because of all the political things going on. Our entire world is not what it used to be. And this year of 2025 is just constantly getting spun around in this cocoon. And it's exhausting, it's scary, but if you know that at the end result you're going to turn into a butterfly, then you can handle it. And that's the great gift of astrology, is that it lets you know you're not crazy, that this is just weather, and that whatever we're going through is meant to be happening. There is nothing superficial happening right now at all. It's a deep transformational time, and did that little caterpillar ask for that transformation? No. I don't know what he felt like when he was stuck in the cocoon, but I don't think it would be necessarily fun. I hear their eyeballs melt.
Oh my goodness.
So
I did not know that.
yeah, no, that's what I've heard. So it's also bringing things up from deep in the darkness, bringing things to light, because we're going to lift off afterwards. We're going to be lighter, and this had to happen. I don't understand why exactly. It would have been nice if we could have just stayed in our little horizontal world, but it's not the way it's supposed to be. So, making this shift into a more vertical access means that we have to connect to nature in a totally different way and to each other in a totally different way, because the vertical axis is more about the space above our heads, so the stars, the planets, and the earth below. We cannot do horizontal, means we're just walking on this earth plane. We're no longer allowed to just walk on this earth. We have to be connected to the planets, the stars, and the earth, trees and plants and animals, and we're going to be forced to do that, and we should willingly go into it if possible. But just know that with Mercury retrograde is just one. I'll tell you about all the others in a second. But those retrograde planets, they don't feel very comfortable because when they're in reverse, they put us into a mode of feeling like we're not able to go forward. And it just means we're supposed to be in reverse, just like the car. I've always used the analogy of the reverse mode is not negative because you cannot parallel park without reverse. You cannot back out of a parking spot without reverse. You cannot get out of your garage without reverse. So it's not negative. It's just when you want to get to where you want to go and you can't get it out of reverse, that's not fun. So a lot of people are feeling that whatever's going on in their life, whether they're trying to figure out if they should stay married, should they change their job, all of these big transitions, a lot of people are feeling as if they can't find their way out right now. But it will shift.
It's so interesting because I'm one of these people that, I don't know if I sound like the woman who cried Mercury retrograde, but, but a lot of times when there's so many communication issues or tech issues, or it seems like everything just feels frustrating, I will think, "Oh my god, Mercury is retrograde again," and then I'll go check and it's true. So I feel like I have a sensor for that.
Good.
Maybe I don't. Maybe it's just like every once in a while I'll guess right. But but seriously, normally it would feel so weighty. Normally the tech issues, communication issues, the parallel conversations you have with people where you feel like you're both explaining things, but there's just a lack of clarity. This seems, like you said, so much worse, so much bigger, louder, more dramatic. I am somebody who, looks on social media more than I participate, and it's nearly overwhelming globally, nationally, the up to the minute news. and not knowing what's true or what isn't sometimes, interpersonal things, feeling like, "Is this person, like, are they having a bad day? Are they upset with me?" Whatever, that kinda thing. But it's
Yes.
bigger. It feels so much bigger.
Yes, because we're all in a pressure cooker at the moment. And I don't think anybody likes that at all. August will feel better after we get through the Mercury retrograde, which ends on the 11th. And then we also have something known as the Lionsgate on August 8th, which is a deeply spiritual time. And people should just realize on that day, if you can meditate and just connect with whatever you think the higher power is, especially being in nature, that's just an opening, and a gate is something you pass through to get to the other side. That's a positive thing. And there's also a golden aspect on August 12th, and they're not that common. So there are little moments where it gets a little bit lighter, but then again, it's that same thing, two steps forward, one step back. Then we get on August 24th a really difficult aspect where unexpected weird things are going on. And then September is even more complicated because there's a lot of problems with communication. This is globally. I'm not doing it just for one zodiac sign, it's for all of us. Real big problems with communication around September 3rd. And then on September 18th, there's deep polarity with people who are crazy talking to people who are sane. And this conflict of those energies will be going on. But then at the same time, on September 20th, we have another golden aspect. So you'll get like one really good thing and then three things that are like, oh my God, but at least we've got some good things. But the major theme for this end of 2025 is that the outer planets, which are the big daddies of the zodiac, so the ones that are furthest from the sun, like Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they're the ones that really do the most to us personally. Because the inner planets, the way I describe them when I teach astrology, the inner planets are the ones closest to the sun, like the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Those are like if you were making a recipe, they're like your chicken, your fish, your beef. They're like the main protein, but it's what you do with them, the seasonings, which are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. They're the ones that really determine what that protein is going to actually be like. So that's why we look at these outer planets to see what kind of seasoning is coming down from the heavens and is coming to sprinkle on top of us right now. And when you've got, for example, Saturn is right now up in the sky next to Neptune, these two are not happy together. That's also causing conflict. And they're both going to be retrograde. So Saturn over here would be like the stern grandfather. Let's go old fashioned. Let's get back to the way life used to be. Let's follow the rules. And it's very strict, stern, all those words that begin with an ST. Structure, stability, all of that. And then we've got Neptune, which is all about innovation, but also delusional thinking and craziness and drugs and alcohol and things that don't make sense. They're next to each other. So this is part of what we're dealing with right now. Saturn is more sane, Neptune is more delusional, but yet Saturn is strict and wanting to keep things the way they are, and Neptune wants to break down all the boundaries, and both have good and bad qualities. We want a combination of both, but when they're right next to each other, it's like we can't figure out if we're going forward or if we're going backwards. Are we going to go back into the dark ages with, women having less and less rights over their body, or are we going to go into this whole new phase where it's going to be completely different? We're not It hasn't been determined yet because we're still in that cocoon. So that's one thing that's really tough. And then Saturn will be in Aries until September 1st. So in less than a month, it's going to go back into Pisces. So it's going retrograde into Pisces. And Pisces is the zodiac sign that Neptune most likes. So it may feel as if we're going backwards again with some of the progress that we thought we were making. And then that lasts until February 14th of 2026. So
Oh,
all I
wow.
can tell you is that I don't think we're going to quite know where we're ending up with a lot of things until the probably the spring of 2026, because everything else is still kind of in the process of being spun into the butterfly. We don't know what kind of butterfly we're making yet, but it's going to be a butterfly. I don't think we're going to get a moth, but I think it's a
But who knows?
butterfly. So we,
One can
we've
hope.
we can hope, right? So then we got Neptune, as I told you, which is right next to Saturn, and it's going to be there in Aries until October 22nd of 2025. And then guess what? Then it goes backwards back into Pisces again. So there is no way on earth I think we're going to figure out the way forward until these planets go through this whole cycle. So, and then it will go back into Aries on January 26th of 2026, and then it will be there until 2039. So once we get through this, it's going to start making sense. And hopefully we'll be able to start watching the news again and not feeling like we're going to be traumatized every time we turn anything on. Then we've got Uranus. Talk about another one that just shakes up everything. So I equate Uranus with being the seasoning that puts us into a blender. It's very unsettling. It's like what I call living inside of a pinball machine. Now, some people don't mind that bing, 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 bing. It's like when you go to the Las Vegas airport, all you hear is that bing, bing, bing sound. That's very Uranian energy. And that's going to be going retrograde from started in July 7th until November 7th. It'll go back into Taurus, and then it will go back into Gemini in April of 2026. So you can get the theme of what's happening now. There is no way on earth with all, so Saturn's retrograde, Neptune's retrograde, right now Mercury's retrograde, Uranus is retrograde, and then Pluto. We haven't even talked about that. That's the big daddy of those seasoning packets. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, and that one is going to be retrograde until October 13th. So that's a big day, October 13th, because Pluto's going to be opposite, which means tension, like fighting with the sun and Mercury. So I'm not a big fan of what I see happening on that day. And then we have Chiron. Chiron is not a planet, but I call it a planet because I think it's super important in the chart. And Chiron is the place in the chart where wherever it lands, it feels like you're stuck in a wheelchair and you can't get out. So we already feel like we're stuck in the cocoon and we can't get born yet to become what we know we should be. But then we've got Chiron making us feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this wheelchair. And that's going to be retrograde until September 11th. So, oh my gosh, it's exhausting to even think about it. And then we've got these eclipses. I think September is a tough month. We've got two eclipses in September, one on the 7th, which is a lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's also a full moon. And then we have another one on September 21st. It's a partial solar eclipse in Virgo. So, what do these do? As if we need any more excitement. What they do is they heighten everything, and you're gonna feel them 2 days before and 3 days after. And things don't go as planned. They're sort of like a hyperactive Mercury retrograde, but they can also bring breakthroughs in a much bigger way. And they don't deal with just communication or things breaking down. It's much bigger kind of changes that happen. And the other thing to keep in mind is that 2025, in terms of numerology, if you add up the numbers 2 plus 2 plus 5, it comes to a 9. And a 9 is a very spiritual year, but it's the year of endings. And what the whole purpose of this cosmic weather pattern is that we must go through the chaos in order to find the order. That's just the way it works. And I know as an artist, when I'm creating, I make chaos and then I create something beautiful out of it. It's just the way that human nature works. And when you feel like you're in this energetic bottleneck, you are. It's 100% true, but it's meant to be happening. And I have to believe that it's for our highest good so that we eventually can get off of the caterpillar life, which was just living on a branch. And I mean, caterpillars can't go very far. They can't do very much. That's the horizontal realm. The butterfly can go up, down, left, right, all over the place. It's a much different existence on this earth plane. And I think it's going to end up being pretty exciting. And I think we're going to start feeling better in 2026. But right now, we have a episode of enforced stillness, and that doesn't feel great. But if you can use a different way of describing it as more like a sacred gestation period, then you can look at this time as being okay. I hear what Leslie's saying. As long as I know I'm going to be a butterfly at the end of this, I guess I can hang in there with this nasty process I'm going through. It's just part of the design of life at this time. And my best hope is that, and it looks like it will be noticeably better in 2026. So for me, that's like, oh my gosh, phew.
So, Leslie, I want to just summarize to make sure I get it
Hmm.
and our listeners do, because I'm not an astrologer. I find it fascinating and extremely helpful, and you have come up with things when you've done personal readings that are uncanny, like uncanny things that are far beyond what would just be if somebody entered something into a computer program and it spit out, this is your chart. I mean, really, really insightful and intuitive. But I want to, as a non-astrologer, I want to make sure I get it. So the whole Mercury retrograde and Leo, things feel more dramatic, intense, and to me that seems like what I'm hearing from people I know, maybe patients,
Hmm.
what I'm seeing again on social media, the moment to moment news, there's nothing that's dull,
Right.
right? The miscommunications people are having, really more dramatic. The tech problems people seem to be having, myself included, more dramatic.
Right.
So louder. And then we have these other planets retrograde. It sounds like there is this tension between traditional, controlled, strict, I want to keep things the same,
Hmm.
and unconventional, spontaneous, can be a little kooky or zany, like, because everything has a positive and a negative manifestation of the same thing, two sides of the same coin. And honestly, it seems like we've been feeling that for the last several years, and what I'm taking from what you're saying is that in this 9-year numerologically and with everything that's going on astrologically, this is all coming to a head. It feels like it's karmic. We can't change it. This is the way it's playing out. We can do the things we can do, and we should try to do as well as we can. But the tension for so many of us is that we cannot move this process through more quickly.
Right.
We're not going to really feel a huge difference till the end of the year and beginning of next
Correct.
in terms of the that kind of intangible weight so many of us are carrying around, or that tension or anxiety. Um, it sounds like, is that an accurate kind of summary of what you're describing? I mean,
100% perfect description of what it is. And right now, there are three words. We have a lot of fire, a lot of wars going on, a lot of anger, a lot of people being shot, just horrible things. And then we've got a lot of friction, especially in our own country. It's as if we have a civil war going on. And then the other word that we have to use through this whole time is faith. And I just was invited to submit an essay on a website called My Elevator Pitch for God. And it's a really great website. I highly suggest people look at it. Mine is under the authors, and it just got put up. And I find reading them quite soothing because we need to believe that there is a higher purpose to all of this. There's a design in things. And the astrology world is seeing the patterns, and we're translating what we're seeing to people who don't understand astrology so that you know that you're not going crazy. And I think it's really important to focus on your faith right now, whatever it is, and also probably the less time you spend with people that you don't feel comfortable with. I think it's really important right now to stay with things that give you energy. And it doesn't mean you can't love your friends, but some of them may be draining, and some activities you do may not be bringing you to life anymore. Make sure that you do things that are making you happy and bringing you to life. And if you don't know what those are yet, and you can't think of anything because you're so depressed and so stuck, which I know many of us have felt that way, I can promise you that if you just lie on the earth, if you can, and just be in nature, it can help enormously, especially any kind of gardening that you do. Give it to the earth, give it to the trees. Turns out trees love our anxieties, our depression, all of it. We give off a kind of energy with that mucky stuff that we don't like, but it's actually energetic fertilizer for trees. Did you know that?
I didn't, but it kind of metaphorically, it's like the, the poop we're
Yes.
dealing with, the manure we're dealing with.
Yes, it's we have energetic manure on us. And if we don't get it off of us, we sit in our own stuff.
Stuff.
And our energetic things that, and it's really important to clear that out, especially if you're a super sensitive person like I am and that you are. I have to be careful. That's why you can see about trees behind me here. I'm in the woods, and this is a good place for me to be right now. It's not a time for me to be out in the world because I'm way too sensitive for what's going on at the
Oh
moment.
my god.
It's just a lot. And I think I'm trying to also just be in gratitude for the fact that there are a lot of really good things going on right now too.
Absolutely. So a lot of what you're talking about makes me think of other metaphors that feel very apt, like at various times in life to me. But like giving birth to ourselves, like rebirthing something, our society, who we want to be as a people, whatever that is, our friend groups. You mentioned even like evaluating our relationships. And when we make necessary change and it's significant change, it can feel painful. It can feel like we're being cracked open. And this time period, and honestly, the last at least year, but several years have felt like that. I'm curious. Is what's going on astrologically now? I've heard people kind of talk a little bit about, oh, things coming to light, things being revealed, secrets kind of, shining a light on things that might also be hard to sit with, but that we need to bring to the surface. I don't know if that's too vague.
That's true. That's what's causing a lot of the feeling of chaos around us because it's very unstable times, and that that's just one of many things that are very disruptive at the moment. And it's very difficult when you're navigating your life when you've got all these things coming at you, either from friends or at work. I mean, people that are my clients in the fashion business, I mean, that's a really tough business right now because there are very few department stores left, and everyone's scrambling to try to figure out how to. We still need to clothe ourselves, but there's a lot of pressure on people to figure out how do we move forward into this new vertical world because it's totally different. And it's going to take visionaries to lead these corporations to figure out what to do, because if you don't have the creative visionary minds helping you, you're going to try to use your horizontal brain to get there, and that will not work. And if you don't enjoy the process of realizing, wow, we're going to have to do things differently, this could be really fun. It's going to be something we've maybe never thought about before. If we're not able to go into that direction, then we can get stuck, and then these transits are going to feel really, really not very good. So one of the most important things for people to also do is to break their patterns now. Do it willingly. So if you always brush your teeth with your right hand, brush your teeth with your left hand. If you always eat breakfast at the exact same place in your house, go somewhere else. Just little things. If you always drive to work the same way, go a different way. A lot of people, when they walk their dogs, they always go just around the block. And I always tell people dogs have a lot of sensitivity to them and they carry a lot of our muck. The least we can do for them is take them to new places for a walk. They need to smell new things just like we do.
Yeah.
We need new. And if you haven't made a new friend in many years, then it's time to start making one. And that's part of what this is about. Be open to the new, be open to putting yourself into a situation that maybe you wouldn't normally do. Like right now, I just started volunteering with an organization that uses little miniature donkeys, and they
Oh,
go around to nursing homes and they work with people with disabilities. And I have some horse experience, but I don't know that much about little miniature donkeys. But I'm just doing it because it's good for me to help the donkeys, but it's also good for me. It's good for them. It's good for me. I'm going to meet all brand new people and really think about it, folks out there. When was the last time you met new friends, new people? And if you're not doing something to break your patterns, then this time period for now until the end of 2025 is going to be a little tricky. People, you don't want to get stuck. I'm telling you, the energy is very stuck right now. So
right.
the last thing we want is for you to be stuck. That's not good. And a
Get
lot
out of
of
the
people are
Barca
stuck.
lounger.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't want to. And it's up to you. I mean, I can't force people to do anything, but I was just talking to my sister today about a friend who all her friends are the same. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I have so many different types of friends, male, female, old, young. And I guess I'm different, but I thought, wow, I do really work hard at making sure that I have freshness around me, that I'm circulating in new worlds always. And it's something you have to work at. It doesn't just happen.
And growing, getting out of our ruts. I think that makes perfect sense.
It's hard to do for many of us. One of the things I tell people, and I used to when I teach at Rancho La Puerta, I often give people the assignment. I don't know if I did this when I met you there, but I said when you go into the dining room for dinner, say the name of your wait person, male or female. And most people don't do that. And when you do that, they will smile because the act of saying someone's name is one of the kindest things you could ever do. So, just even that little thing, practice that when you go to the post office. They all have their name on their shirt. Just say, "Hey, Dawn, thank you so much for my package." It's hard to do because most people don't want to do it because it's not the most comfortable thing to say the name of a total stranger. But that stranger will really feel warmth from you if you take the time to say their name.
And it's being present.
Yes,
So
that's part of the trick too. Yeah, be present because otherwise you're stuck in your mind going, whatever I'm worried about. Like if you have to talk to the person and say their name, you're not thinking about yourself.
right. No, such a good point. So Leslie, I want to be mindful of your time. There are three things that I think, even if we could touch on really quickly, because they seem like positives. They seem like places for us to find something that feels like not only a break from this stuckness and this weightiness, but empowering or can open us to something different, at least for the time being. And one was you talked about the Lionsgate, which is August 8th. So 8/8, a
Hmm.
time for meditation, manifestation. I did a ritual 2 years ago on during the Lionsgate. I wrote down what I wanted. And one thing I wanted was for Loretta to be able to be healthier, even though she had a lot of chronic health conditions. My dog Loretta, for people who are newer to the show, and I think we had some miracles. I mean, she's since passed, but I really that was my sincere intention. The other one was for us to find a house because we had sold our house and we still hadn't found something else, and we had a limited amount of time to find that thing before we get to be out of our other place. And I mean, it happened. I mean, I feel like every little bit helps, right? We have to do the mundane things,
Yes.
but the mystical things can help us feel hope and inspiration too.
Yes.
So the Lionsgate, the golden aspects, I'm not sure everybody knows what those are. And then the upcoming full moon, if there's something people can do to tap into that, greater energy.
Yeah, so the full moon is on August 9th, and it's called the Sturgeon moon. So think about what a full moon does. It the moon is that rock in space that pulls on all the water on planet Earth. So we are like 90% water. So when the moon is full, it's activating our cells, okay? Biodynamic farming is based on the cycles of the moon because the soil also has water molecules in there. So when the moon is full, all of those little water molecules by the moon are getting activated as well. So when you have this activation on August 9th, that's a really good day to, set your intention and power up. I mean, it's powerful, and those are very, very good things to do to work with the natural rhythms of this planet that we live on and the cosmic forces that are affecting us down here. And there's no doubt that they aren't. Whenever people say, I don't believe in astrology, I'll say, well, the moon is regulating the tides and we're made of water. So how can you say that the moon doesn't have an effect on us? And if you just extrapolate it out to all the other planets, we're just looking at harmonics. We're looking at sacred geometry. It's an interpreted esoteric science. It's not hard science, but it is based on hard facts of where everything was at the time you took your breath. Or I'm looking at hard facts at where the planets are going to be over the next, 6 to 12 months. But the golden aspects, you asked about them. So a group of astrologers called Magi astrologers set out to find out why certain people were super successful. And they found out that they had these very rare golden aspects. And most people don't have one. Maybe 1 in 10 people was born with one, but you can be born with as many as four. I've only seen it once in my life. It's super rare. Um, but you can also get them through weather patterns. And those dates I gave you for the golden aspects, those are just days where there's like an insurance policy on all of us on those days. There's something a little extra cushiony on a golden aspect day. Oh, the other way you can get a golden aspect is if you meet somebody and you combine your two charts together. So like I'm yellow, he's blue, together you make green. And that green, there are like three golden aspects there. Those are very powerful friendships that you'll have for life if you're lucky enough to meet those people. But it's something only an advanced astrologer could tell you, like me, to tell you if you have a golden aspect. They're good to know. And when I help people with hiring, I work with a lot of corporate executives who have me look at the charts of people they're thinking of hiring, because astrology is much more accurate than Myers-Briggs. And when you're going to spend a lot of energy and time hiring somebody, you need to make sure that astrologically their chart, their owner's manual is something that's a good fit for you. I hired my current staff, my assistant, my web designer, and my social media person. I hired all of them because I looked at their astrology charts and they were all perfect for me. And guess what? They have been phenomenally great.
That
And I
is
used
so
to not,
great.
Tracy, I used to not do that. I just got so busy. Oh, I like this person. That seems great. I'm like, Leslie, you're an astrologer. Check their chart next time before you hire them.
And
Oh
it's
my
worked
gosh.
out.
Yeah, it's
So
really, well, that's why astrology is such a comforting thing, because I tell my clients I'm 95% accurate, and I'm not bragging when I say that. It's the astrology that's amazing. I just happen to have a good ability to interpret these charts. But as you know, I think of them as pieces of music, and my job is just to play the piece of music and let my clients hear what's in their systems.
that's so great, Leslie. With the golden aspects, I just want to clarify for my own sake, because again, I am not an astrologer, but it sounds like on the days when there are golden aspects, it's like we get a bit of a break, or
Yes.
things might be more positive, or so something to look forward to
Yes.
in the stars. But and we do need that encouragement right now. But I think what you're saying is that karmically we have to go through this. There are good things coming up. We're here all to learn lessons individually and together, and astrology is another really helpful tool for doing that.
Right. And remember, the end result is we're going to have more inner solidarity. We're going to have a kind of knowingness that can't be faked. We're going to have something about us that's just going to be more intact. And that's a pretty big thing to we're going through an initiation period now, but once you're initiated, like in the ancient primitive cultures when they went through those initiations, when you're done, you're stronger, you're a better person for it. And that's where we're headed. But unfortunately, we're just in the initiation phase, and I will admit it is not fun.
Yeah. Well, Leslie, people can get The Power of Mercury, your excellent book, to learn more about Mercury retrograde generally and how to navigate it well, at all your favorite bookstores, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. They can click on your website.
Yep.
Workshops coming up or other things you'd like to let people know about?
So yes, I'm going to start up in the fall another beginner astrology workshop where I teach people how to read a natal chart in 8 hours. And I do it all through metaphor and storytelling. Just even talking with you, I try not to use astrological language. I did a little bit here because there are people who understand it, but for the most part, I don't, because most people get bogged down with the words. So that's gonna, if anyone's interested in learning astrology from me, they can just email me at leslie@lesliemcguirk.com. And it's McGuirk. And the other
I'll
thing
put
I'm
it in the
doing,
show notes too,
okay,
definitely.
great. And the other thing I'm doing right now, which is super fun, it's called the Mystery Guest Series. And Tracy, you should actually come and join it too, because
I'd love
what I
to.
do is send my students watch me in real time working with a total stranger. I don't know the person's first or last name. My assistant handles all of it. It's like complete unknown to me. I don't. I just know if they're male or female. I'm given their natal chart, and I'm going to read their chart, and you're going to watch in real time how astrology can be so accurate, so mind-bogglingly accurate, and you can witness it. And I'm going to be doing two people within an hour, and it's every Wednesday during the month of August,
Oh, wow.
and it's $50 per mystery guest class. And if you buy all four of them, then you get the last class free. But it's when people who come to attend it, they say, "Oh my gosh, this is better than reality TV." A lot of times you'll be like your jaws on the floor at the end of it, like, whoa, a total stranger just got completely recalibrated in 30 minutes.
And
It's
people learn a
powerful.
lot about astrology,
It's a great way to learn.
and I have to tell you, Jason took your class, it
Yes,
must
he
be
was
like
great. That was about
7 years
8 years
ago
ago.
or something,
Yeah,
yeah, and he still says how incredible it was. He said it was, just amazing. He took the one-day class and it was terrific, so you know me, I won't say it if it's not true. He absolutely loved it and speaks very highly of it,
good.
and
Well,
of your
both of you
readings
should get
as
on the
well.
mystery guests. You should
Yeah.
both. It's going to be fun. I love doing them because I love taking people who are kind of skeptical about astrology and
Oh,
having
yeah.
them see in real time just how phenomenal this ancient science is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Leslie, I'll put your link to your website in the show
Okay,
notes. People can find out more about your classes and how to get an astrology reading with you and your books and all of your other great stuff. Thank you so much. It's always so great to see you.
great to see you too. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be at Rancho La Puerta the week of January 24th. If anyone's interested in coming, I'm going to be doing a whole astrology week there. It's not advanced, it's very, beginner level, but if you're interested, let me know. And I'd love to see you and Jason there.
I know, and again, we met there, it's gotta be 20 something years ago
It
now,
was.
and I reached out 18 years after meeting you,
I'll never
and
forget it. I
it it
remember you telling me because I
it
remembered you too, which is interesting.
yeah, I mean, it's the energy, right?
Yeah.
So and Rancho La Puerta is amazing too, so I hope I can go. But Leslie, thank you so
Are
much.
you welcome? It's always great to talk to you,
Yeah,
Tracy.
likewise. So, this has been another episode of Unpacking Possibility. If you enjoyed the episode, and I know you did, please remember to like, share, follow, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And of course, as always, until next time, be well.